Oh, hello. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and these amazing people, all the amazing people, are here tonight. Yay! To play our mentally taxing, acting skill displaying Saturday night extravaganza of infinite doom and hope. There, put that on a poster.
Or at
Let's
least with
talk
the
to the
content
people.
warning.
Put that on a scroll.
Yeah.
Pin it to the church
Robert's
door.
captured it pretty well in the content warning. So.
Yes, yeah, the content warning is accurate and pinned. So, but let's talk to the amazing people. Let's start with oh, he's sitting there so quiet. Look at him. Look at him. He's trying to look like if I don't move, he can't see me. I am not a fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex. Bison underscore Stonefist. Tell us about your own self.
That's
Oh,
me.
thank you, Scott.
Actually,
I'm here a lot. I'm actually here just as much as Sans, who's not here tonight. Uh, you can catch me 3, soon to be 4 nights a week. On Monday nights, I will be back to playing Jack, not a cop, Aldridge,
Definitely
in
a
our
cop.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer TTRPG Grave New World. On Tuesday, I run our Cyberpunk Red game, Carnage Heights. It's been lots of fun. They just crashed an ambulance, and now they're being chased by the cops.
They stole an
typical.
ambulance.
They stole an ambulance.
Yes,
They
let's
crashed
be
it
accurate.
and then crashed it.
first.
Technically, it wasn't inaccurate. It just wasn't the whole story.
Yeah. That heavy winch of shadows is like it's a meme in of itself now.
That's what nomads are for.
He's almost Sheila's new nickname is Mater. And on Thursdays, I play Encino, our Dragonborn Paladin and resident sheepdog, on our D&D 5e Fool's Gold campaign called King's Pyrite. That one's a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm finally figuring out that he's the buttons to the rest of the group's Mindy.
And last week, you were the source of many, many floating alligator memes. So.
Oh yeah, we had a spa day. It was awesome.
Okay. Who's gonna top that? I know. The most wayward of knights.
Well, that's me.
That's you.
I am the waywardest of the knights.
Yes,
my name is Chris, and it's on my resume.
Yes.
What do? I am here a lot as well. Not as much as Bison, but I play Felicity Caldwell now is her name now. Saturdays on the one we're playing. My brain checked out about 30 seconds ago for some reason. I run the Monday night game, which is coming back real soon. The Grave New World, which is our Buffy the Vampire Slayer campaign, and I exist a lot on our Discord. We have fun there. I am an artist online. You can check me out in the links below if I actually remember to put them there. You can also find in those links a link to my podcast, Professional Questers. It's about me interviewing people in the TTRPG world about their characters and then flipping the script and interviewing the characters themselves. So it's a real hoot.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And yeah, I am very happy to hear all those things. I love people with lots of projects. Let's go to there's a fierce cat attempting to play a keyboard in the background. Thunderscape 7 / Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin, or Thunderscape 7 all over the internet. I'm only on stream here on Saturdays. Sometimes rarely, kind of depends. But I also hang out a lot at the Discord. I also have a gremlin behind me. But yeah, I do art sometimes, but mostly lurk a lot.
Oh, thank you very much. And your art is extraordinarily appreciated, as is all the work that everybody does on this channel that helps us make it look as good as it does. Which brings us around. It's kind of inevitable. There's no point trying to sneak up on you, is there? Cara,
No.
Sophia,
I'm sitting here kind of going, yes, because I was talking early on and I thought that would make me go first, but no, I managed to just sort of be invisible by being present. I love it. I'm Cara Sophia. I do this sometimes. I do some offline D&D, and I am streaming Minecraft
Yeah.
almost weekly, I hope.
Yeah.
Sunday mornings on the Lifecraft server, I go play with Minecraft with my peeps, and it's loads of fun. Lots and lots of derps. Although we have some new members that have
Nice.
only been on the server for like 2 weeks.
Oh dear.
One of them's already into triple digits on deaths. Oh, how can I defend my death count? I mean, I only have 346,
person
and I've
me?
been on the server for 2 years. I've got to step up my game. I mean, there's a reason I have this splat, but I'm gonna have to.
That is some serious dirt. Like,
Oh,
I'm
thank you
gonna-
so
I'm
much,
gonna
Scott.
have
Your
to-
game.
Derp
I
everywhere.
have
to
that
up
my
your
game.
game.
I'm gonna have to turn over my splat emote to someone else, and it's like I kept telling the newbies, it's like, guys,
is that
you
what
gotta
Splat's
work
supposed to
on it.
mean?
Yeah. That's my Minecraft. Yeah, my splat emote is my Minecraft character going splat. I was known for always going splat 'cause I couldn't fly. We fell off things. I couldn't parkour. I couldn't.
That makes that even.
Scott's one of my Minecraft peeps.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Thank you so much. What a talented group of people that I am lucky enough to be part of. The hints were made, and if you did the maths, nobody likes maths. Kevin, shut up. Do it yourself. Okay, I'll do the math for you.
love
very,
maths.
very soon, we will be doing 7 nights a week here on the channel. 7 different game systems, 6 different GMs. Ta-da! You should tune in. The only one that isn't at 6 p.m. Pacific is Friday. That's at 3 p.m. because that's as early as I can start, and that gives our 2 players who are from the faraway, possibly fictional land of Poland. So I only keep them up until 2 a.m.
There's no
instead
proof
of
it exists.
5 a.m. on other
Kind of
days.
like Finland.
Yes. It's a way far
And
away place.
giraffes.
It is, to quote apparently how they start almost all of their equivalent of fairy tales. Over 7 mountains, through 7 forests, and beyond 7 rivers away, which
Ooh,
I
love
think
it.
is bloody gorgeous. And when I found that out, that's now how I start every one of those episodes.
Super poetic.
That's so much better than a long time
Oh,
ago.
I-
Yeah.
we put the YouTube back up where you can get all the back episodes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and we're
There's a
I
lot
did it
almost
earlier,
caught
but I'll
up.
do it all
Almost-
again.
We will be caught up by 24 hours after we put this one out, or after this goes out live. So, no more putting it off. 2 whole chapters. went
Play the
by.
jam game.
2 whole chapters have gone by. In the first, you just barely got comfortable in a place, and then I burned it down. In the second, you found many places, some of them of which angered you, one of which you burned down. Well, one of kind of, no, I burned it down. And now in the third chapter, we have
My ribs
arrived
are
at a
finally
third
healed.
place, which hopefully nobody burns down because this place is kind of the point. But it needs.
So we're burning it down, right?
So yes. It's only 2:15 a.m. there. Yes, this is why if we started 3 hours earlier, tune in on Fridays, Scott. It will only keep you awake until midnight your time, I think. Anyway, we're done by 5 our time. So. Sid breaks ribs. Yeah, there you go.
You're not wrong, Bison.
Yeah. Sid has ribs. Sid breaks ribs. Sid's ribs throbbing.
And
Yeah,
remembers
that's
what
part 3.
ribs are.
Yes. So
Good with barbecue sauce. Sorry,
when last we
we'll
left,
settle down.
No,
on that.
no, that's it.
Don't use that line. Don't use that. Don't. That's somebody else's line. Somebody else learned that line. Let's start with Sid, Artemis, and I think it's fair to say the slightly stumbly Felicity at this moment, as you walk out of the experience of meeting your mother, who rather put form before love, and went into full defense mode.
I mean, she's not stumbly until like she gets out of eyesight
course,
of
yes. Wouldn't-
yeah,
her
but
form.
precisely.
Lady Felicity.
The thing, I mean, what, like, does she get shown to a bedroom, or does she, like,
Well, one thing
have
before, because we
to?
kind of left
yeah.
we were kind of going back to the car, I think, is what we were doing.
That was the impression
Yeah.
And we kind of ended with that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
as we kind of, I'm assuming there's like this entryway
Oh yes, yeah.
to the room where there's like not necessarily a private room, but it's like not invisible eyesight of anything.
A parlor
Yeah.
Yeah.
off the foyer.
Yeah.
Or like behind like a pillar or something. Artemis is just gonna pull Felicity into a hug.
Oh,
If there's
Felicity
resistance,
is-
she'll stop, but
especially-
she
a really heartfelt hug
No.
after that creepy one that she just got from her mom and a ghost. Yeah. Yeah.
because Artemis just got
no,
done staring
Felicity
down her
hugged
mother.
her mom. But
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Felicity is like surprised, but doesn't like try to reject the hug. She just like she's been kind of stiff for the last like hour and a half, 2 hours, because she's been pretending to be a lady.
Yeah.
And now that they're, out of eyesight of all of the proper people, she just like melts. She's trying hard not to cry, but like it's like those kind of like silent tears. So like no sobs or anything, but like her eyes are leaking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's why Artemis would have waited till they were kind of in a private, not like public viewing area, because she got the whole like this is important to not be
Yep.
vulnerable at this moment for Felicity.
Yeah. So you give them the
Yeah,
support
so-
and then back into official mode and head back towards the vehicle.
Yeah, so when Felicity pulls back, she'll like wipe her cheeks and just like
Yep.
straighten up, take a deep breath, and just like, yeah, well, she'll thank Artemis softly so that no one else hears,
Uh-huh.
because proper.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause we're all
And-
pretending to be like your entourage or whatever too.
Yeah. And then out to the car to get the luggage. Presumably Sid gets the luggage.
Yeah, because the boys aren't.
Sid's to help again.
um
We're gonna get to Sid in just a second.
And-
Yeah.
yeah. And I guess she just waits to be shown to her suite. I don't know.
Here at the house? Is that what you're referring to? Like at
Yeah, like
Castle
wherever
Caldwell?
she's.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Manor
I don't know.
room,
She like doesn't. Normally, she wouldn't like
the
assume
pool house.
that she's going to be, put up in this place, but
Yeah.
like she's a Caldwell. She
Yeah.
has to like pretend that she belongs with the
Yeah.
Caldwells.
So you
So
you ask one of the staff?
yes.
There's a kind of they're clearly taken aback, and there's a pause, and they very pointedly say, I presume the guest house would be available.
Is it ready?
Oh, it's always ready. But there's an implied insult behind that you are definitely not invited to the big house. You are not being treated as a Caldwell. They put you in the guest house. You don't put family in the guest house.
Artemis does
I
not
put
pick
my
up on
guests
that.
there.
And he kind of freezes up and he said, that would have to be discussed. Your being in the house, Mom, would have to be discussed with your mother. So he's pulling rank on
Right.
you through her. Yeah.
Well, then I'll go talk to my mother. And Felicity goes right back inside.
Yep. Okay. Sid, you see that? You see the coming out, the hug outside. Yeah.
When did we get so much luggage?
Well, if it takes more than one trip, you weren't trying hard enough.
It's true,
Yes,
it's
yeah.
true.
Plot luggage.
So he is just full shopping bag.
What do you mean emotional?
It's the emotional
baggage?
baggage. It's going to be a lot of trips.
Baggage.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have lots of that.
Yeah.
Plenty
Some
to
of it's
spare.
not packaged well either.
Artemis is really messy.
Yeah. So Sid, yeah, you're just getting this footman stuff figured out, and now Lady Felicity is storming back into the house, and you may or may not be staying in the guest house. You're not sure. Nobody ever confirmed or denied that.
Mm.
That's what Felicity is trying to secure, or rather inquire otherwise, or acquire otherwise,
Mhm.
alternate accommodations, etc.
Yeah. I think Sid would just gingerly put the bags down.
Yeah,
You know, he grabbed them all in one go, but they're kind of designed to be put down once.
yeah.
So he does his very level best without, biffing
So
or anything.
when you say get the bags, do you mean go to the car and get them and then bring them back?
He was on his way
Okay.
back when he saw Felicity go back into the house.
Okay. In that case, I have to cut back slightly before that. When you get to the car and start grabbing the baggage from the back seat where the boys are, you can't see them. They must be ducked down. but
They're
you
in the
can-
kitchen with Allegra.
Yeah.
They're in
Are
the
they?
kitchen
Oh
with
shit!
Allegra.
I have a whole great thing.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I think
Damn
the
it.
only
They're learning how to
person
peel
still there
potatoes or
is-
something.
I think the only person that's still there is Terrence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This isn't
okay.
going to work with Terrence. Never mind. I forgot where everybody was. They'll do it later. So yes, perfect. You're walking back in, and boom, 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 ahead of you. Do you, Artemis and Sid? Do you follow Felicity back in?
Did Felicity make any Artemis is kind of just like, do we go?
Felicity will turn back around and just say, "It's okay. I can handle this."
Yeah.
Are you okay waiting here, or is it too out in the open?
We're fine. She looked to Sid.
If I'm going to be honest, this is probably the safest we've been in weeks.
All right. I will go secure us some accommodations. And she once again assumes that persona
Yep.
and walks back into
Thump,
the
thump,
house.
thump, thump, thump. Yes. Lady Karen Caldwell enters the building.
Wow, how dare you?
Karen's her middle name.
No, actually, it's not.
You
was-
thought of that.
She has a middle name.
I could not
I
resist.
gave her one.
It's Wilberforce. No, wait a minute. That's the guy from Mr. Humphreys from Are You Being Served? It's only ever mentioned once in all the series. His full name is Wilberforce Claiborne Humphreys.
Mhm.
I love actually that's a spoiler, so I can't say it. Never mind.
All right. So Sid, as they head back in, Sid and Artemis, it's like magic. Lady Felicity becomes out of sight when they head back into the building, and one of the yard workers nearby kind of makes sure they're gone, walks over to the two of you because you're staff, so this is okay. Kind of looks and makes a point, and then looks down, and you can see the logo. Like, all the people that work here are basically marked by what they're wearing. They're all wearing tabards, right? And you guys
Mhm.
aren't. You're dressed like crazy anarchists. But he looks
Sid
to
does have a sigil on his chest because he's
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
wearing.
he's wearing his
yeah.
apron.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you're not where there's no coat
No
of arms,
crest
right?
or
There's
anything.
no
no coat of
family.
arms,
and,
just the
yeah.
engineering guild.
So yes,
Well, yeah, the engineering guild is going to look like a coat of arms. It's just not
Yeah,
a family that he
just
knows.
not one that they
from.
would recognize.
Yeah, they
here.
wouldn't
Yeah.
know it in this town.
But either way, they walk up to you. They're not much, they're a farmer, groundskeeper sort of thing. They walk up and reach inside a vest pocket and pull out a little glass container and take the top off and kind of swirl a little bit till it spills on the outside, and then looks for a clean place to wipe. That's as clean as I can get it. Either one of you want a drink?
Sid just finally is finished putting everything down now
Yeah.
that he grabbed it. Might as well. Has a quick swig.
It's homemade wine, but I mean, you're in Italy, so even the homemade wine's pretty damn good.
Mm.
Artemis will also have a drink 'cause
Have
she
a drink? Yep.
feels like she needs it, even though she still feels pain hungover.
Yeah, it's it's that, like, when I mean homemade wine, I mean it's so thick it feels like a meal. Like it's got some bang to it, right? It's not going to take a whole lot. He's got this little like a flask as if it was whiskey, right?
hmm
So that's the daughter.
That's the daughter.
Sorry, don't look surprised. News travels fast in this place. The thing happened, and by the time you guys were out in the foyer, the message had gone out the window, down to the garden, around to the kitchens, from the kitchens to the dining room, through the dining room, and to me in the yard, and I don't even care.
It went directly to the kitchens, thanks to me. Excuse me.
Yes. He doesn't know that.
I took it myself.
He took that. That's the normal route it goes when he gets told things. Right? So, but, yeah.
Yes, that is the daughter.
I think there's a fallout shelter under the wine cellar in the back. Just so you know.
You expect this to get bad?
I expect this to go nuclear. You ever poke a queen bee with a stick?
Not something on my to-do list, that's for
Can't
sure.
say I've ever encountered one.
It's not so much the queen bee's response that you have to worry about. It's getting out of the hive in one piece. There's
She's a
two
lot
queen
tough-
bees in there and they both got sticks.
Felicity's a lot tougher than you think.
Yes,
And we've gotten
I'm
on
absolutely
plenty
sure.
of angry hives.
But the lady of the house has almost 80 staff. And I don't mean stick. Another drink? Directions to the shelter?
Sid has utmost confidence in Felicity's abilities, and all else fails, he has utmost confidence in his swinging arm.
Ooh.
All hands on deck.
What can I tell you? What can you tell us about this lady of the house?
At a certain level of power, it's beyond money, beyond things like that. It becomes about charisma. And not necessarily in a good way. There are people capable of bullying an entire room using the most flowery and elegant of terms.
Sid thinks back to Inceptum and all of the architects that Felicity was able to piss off just by virtue of being good.
Mm-hmm.
She's no stranger to politics. But I have a feeling that this court is not ready for Miss Caldwell.
We're ready. There are 6 people watching the room right now. If you'd like, there's a screen of trees over here, a veritable hedge. And just behind it happens to be where some of the runners run back and forth with messages. We can't be there live, but it's the next best thing.
Would be interesting to see how the story changes.
And then if she needs backup, we'll know.
Mhm.
Doubt she'd need it, but
Perfect. So the two of you are led around a corner, and this is a place that obviously this is designed to be this place. It's the in I used to work at the Banff Springs Hotel, and it's old enough that there's actually hallways that are only for staff, and you can get anywhere without ever being seen. This is a little hedge play that does that. It allows staff to get from place to place, and now they're using it to run information about the big news in the house. So we'll leave you there. We'll leave Felicity on the storm, and we're going to pop down and visit Allegra in the kitchens.
Okay, so Allegra,
With the candlestick.
Allegra, the kitchen candlestick, yeah. Okay, so Allegra has been using tactics like, oh, you've spilled something on your apron there. Let's see. Do you have another one just handy here or in your room nearby? Thus finding out where do the staff stay.
Mm-hmm.
Getting information on that based on how they respond.
Mm-hmm.
She's watching the dynamics of how fearful they are of the cook. And actually, as they relax in kind of a cheerful atmosphere that Allegra brings with her, of course, and when they're not afraid of the cook, they're actually better at doing their jobs.
Oh yes. Yep.
And so we're also doing things like checking on water supplies, because that's the infrastructure piece she's studied the most.
Yeah.
She's looking for in similar veins. She's looking for information on how much do the staffs of the houses talk to each other. So
Okay.
the network within this house is going to be fantastic. How good is the network? How well can we get information, downstairs information from the top two houses?
Okay.
How frequent, learning about the tradesmen, and do we go out to shop? Do the tradesmen come here? Are the tradesmen based locally? Trying to sort of sort out the business of you have to work 25 years before you get a house. Where do they stay in the meantime?
Mm-hmm.
Even the people who are working and delivering locally. Meanwhile, she's making sure that the boys get fed, and that Terrence is our local escort.
Yes. Yep.
And that Terrence gets sort of included in, and she's getting him in with
Terrence
this group.
stayed with the car.
No, he didn't. I took
he
him with
didn't?
me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
right, 'cause-
I swept all the rest of us along.
Yes. Allegra waited until
Oh.
you guys left and then grabbed the boys, all of them, and
Okay.
buggered off. Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
you stayed.
yeah,
Sorry.
I remember now. You bum rushed him with Allegraness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, so that's what I'm doing, seeking how.
Okay. Perfect. Let's just go through it. Allegra is Allegra. Give me. Can you give me one play in? Manipulation? That sounds so mean. Empathy?
Okay, let me get back to the sheet here.
Arts either way.
Oh, good. I am. Oh, and I have that as enhanced. Excellent.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So generate many successes for me.
Yeah, I'm only going to generate 3.
3. Okay. That's enough to get you most of the information you were looking for. As far as staff accommodation goes, it's a weird rule bend. They're allowed tents, but because the tents have been there so long, they're becoming pretty permanent tents. Some of the tents even have walls made out of stuff that isn't tenty at all, but they're technically a tent village, a vicus, sort of outside a Roman settlement, one of those. So it builds itself, but it's all tents. The fear versus respect thing it's like the chef has learned their lesson. They see what you're doing and how it's working. They have taken your measure and found themselves wanting and decided that it's probably best to do it your way.
Although Allegra does what she can to bolster them.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I was just going to say.
And it's like, not only, hopefully they don't find themselves wanting, they just find themselves moving into the easier path.
That's what I was going to, I was going to finish it up by saying the cycle is completed by the staff then treating them with more respect. And it just, it loops out, right? So yes, the respect it is returning to a respectful situation. You can see it once was, it had kind of ramped up, and then now you're bringing it back to that balance.
And the cook is now being treated with the deference, respect, honor, awe,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
lauding and everything else that she has long felt that she deserved. And so she's now being
Absolutely.
treated like a queen in her domain.
Precisely, yes. Water supplies, in particular, you mentioned infrastructure in general. One really useful piece of information is that the water supply in this valley, location. The more powerful your family is, the closer you live to the source of the water, so that you're not drinking somebody else's runoff, right? So yes, the Caldwells are third, and you can see, as I said, they kind of went up the valley as you looked at the houses. The reason for that isn't just mine's taller than yours; it's also mine's closer to the clean. Mine's closer to this clean water source.
Which means they're directly on it, and so if I were to tamper with the water supplies, for example, it wouldn't just hit the posh district; it would hit the entire town.
Eventually, it would get down to the town.
I mean, not that I would dream of tampering with the water supplies, of course.
Well, certainly not without telling town to put some water in bottles first. But
there's my out.
As far as networking, as far as upstairs downstairs goes, this house talks to itself, all the groups. There's almost like an organized liaison, like the guy outside talked about runners. There's somebody that as soon as the kitchen knows somebody, one of the staff's job is to run down and tell housekeeping, and then somebody in housekeeping's job is to run down the hall and tell security, and that's how the news goes, right? That is smooth as silk. It is faster to get a message to the other end of the house by telling somebody in this room than it is to run down the hallways and get it there yourself. But house to house, none. The Caldwell servants do not speak to the Medici servants, do not speak to any of the others.
Okay.
And the other one was your delivery
That's a
and
setback,
sourcing.
but that's okay.
Yes, you're going to have to win them over one at a time. But as far as delivery and sourcing go, it's not efficient. Everything gets brought up to the gate, but there's so much money here that it doesn't matter that it's inefficient. Nobody's bothering to make it better. But everything gets brought to a gate, and somebody has to go down to the gate and search it and bring it back up. And there's no sort of shipping and receiving. There's no planning. Everything's ordered the day before it's needed. It's definitely a weak spot.
Okay. I've tapped down my notes.
And I think that was, I think that covers everything you were asking about.
At some point, where are we in time of day? How close is it to dinner time that the food that we are preparing is going to be expected to go out?
Perfect. You can tell because you are kitchen knowledgeable. It's that you're just hitting that peak, sort of half an hour before table. Everything is almost ready, and you're just doing those fine tunings to make sure everything comes out at the same time and at the right time.
And we've got all the plates and things ready to start serving stuff up.
Yep.
And I keep the boys and Terrence out from underfoot on that stage.
Perfect. At that precise
that means I'm
moment-
going to have to start looking around. It's like, okay, that we are going to have to depart. This is about the time that we're going to have to depart. What word has come into the kitchen here about what's going on upstairs?
That's a
so
fair
that I can
question.
keep track of timing of what's
The-
it. Where are we in the upstairs timeline?
The dining room has gone into what they call second best crystal request mode. It is what you when they set the table, they're not using the best stuff because they're expecting some things might be broken.
Okay.
Uh,
But also, where are we in the timeline
the
up there?
they're ready. They're because they work in a house of aristocrats. They're ready half an hour early. Like everybody's
I mean Felicity and Artemis and
Oh.
Sid's timeline.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm
No, that makes
been
perfect sense.
ambiguous. So
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do this then. That's the information you have right now. And then, as a runner runs into the kitchen, gasping for air, and opens their mouth to speak, let's see what they say. By cutting back to the to Felicity in the house, you stride boldly forth. I won't say storm in. You stride boldly forth into.
Oh no, storming is far too crass.
Yes. So you stride
Storming
into
requires
the
Undignified.
house. Yes. When you walk back into the room that your mother was in, she's
Mhm.
sitting at a desk writing, doing business. She's writing documents and signing things and reading things. She does not look up, even though she absolutely heard the door open.
May I ask what concerns you so urgently, considering... Oh, I forgot my accent. Let's try that again. I'll ask you what concerns you so urgently, considering the events that just transpired.
Oh, just filling out some legal documents to make sure my finances remain my own.
Ah, okay. I see. So you would rather... no, I wouldn't say.
Family first, with a capital F, by which she means reputation, not you.
Well, I'm sorry, you cut out what first?
She said family first, but with
Oh,
a
okay.
capital F. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. You're funny. As far as I'm aware, you don't have anyone to be family.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And until I know a little more about you, I think I'll keep it that way. Why have you come back? Was there something you forgot to say? And at that, they actually close the document and put the pen on top and cross their hands, and they're just waiting.
Is there another like seating
Oh yes. Yeah.
place that I
Oh,
can...
yes.
Okay. She'll go and sit in the most like distinguished looking, like place of importance kind of
yes.
chair.
Yep.
Um
The side of the
Cross her
desk, not
legs.
across from her, because that's where everybody else that you go over here and sit on the sofa where you're looking like
Making her have
Yeah.
to move to perceive you.
borderline. Yeah. Nothing
Mhm.
borderline about it. It's flat out disrespectful. Yeah.
Crossing her legs rather defiantly of, I guess, decorum of like a subordinate to an authority figure or something. Um
Just being a little too comfortable. I see like arms on the back of the chair and legs crossed.
Not quite that
Not
much.
quite there. Yeah. Okay.
Not quite there. Just like subtle microaggressions.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Not showing them the soles of your feet or anything.
No. You asked about me. I figured I should tell you about me.
There's a moment of concession. You can feel it as they push their wheelchair back. They're still trying to look over here where you should be sitting, but when you speak from over there, they're forced to respond. They push the chair back, and so slowly, as though it is causing them physical pain, they turn towards you, just creep around until they're looking at you. Go ahead. But there's also just a little tick.
My name is Felicity Adeline Caldwell. I was taken from my parents at the age of 4 years old. And I was trained to become an architect in the city of Florence. I grew up knowing no want, no need, only study, only work, only education, only achievement. I graduated top of my class. I achieved highest marks, and I became head of my department. Now, I'm sure you've heard what happened in Florence. I've traveled a long way to get here after learning that you are still alive. I must say, I'm rather shocked by the reception I've had.
That little twitch happens again, and a tear starts to roll, which is just brutally ignored by her. And she looks at you and tries to speak and stops. Tries to speak and stops. And then you can see her. She's grasping for straws and she finds a straw. That's all it is. And she says, your skills would certainly be useful here. We'd have to hire someone to pretend to be the one doing the work. Perhaps that way you could live in the...
No.
Your father built a room for you when we got here. He refused to believe that you were gone. It hasn't been opened in forever.
You don't have to open it. Your next best room will suffice.
And you can see her scanning the possibilities aren't simple, right? This whole house, and it's like, where can she put you that isn't an insult? She's playing the game, right? She's trying to figure it out. Straight across from that room, there is another. That way you would have the choice to cross if you will. And again, you can see she's grasping at straws. She doesn't have answers here. You broke her when you walked over here and treated her like not business partner, because that's how she was going to deal with you, right?
Mm-hmm. Felicity thinks for a moment and gathers her words carefully. Why is my father not here?
Officially, he's in Rome expanding the business. Unofficially, he doesn't like how I run things.
Business?
Sorry, what was that? You gonna...
Oh, business?
Life. He called me ruthless, I think was the last thing he said.
Felicity just thinks back to her training with the Citadel and kind of doesn't want to make parallels, but she's kind of starting to anticipate that there may be some things that seem familiar. Um,
Power is the same everywhere.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what they say about power.
And there's there's no other word for it. It's like the mask is off. There is a vicious little grin for just a second. And she looks you straight in the eyes and says, "Yes, yes, I do." And for just a second, she's that you can see the domineering, masterful manipulator that has gotten herself and her family to number 3 in this place. And at its worst, she's a stone cold killer.
You ever think about what happens when you're no longer here?
Well, up until about 3 hours ago, my answer would have been, I don't care. And she's now just staring right at you like you changed this.
Oh, okay, this is gonna make or break it. So, actually, there's gonna be a couple steps in between.
Okay.
Felicity, sorry, can you repeat the last line she said?
No. Can somebody else repeat the last line I said?
Up until about 3 hours ago,
That's what
I
it was.
didn't.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I didn't believe.
I didn't
yeah,
care.
I didn't care until about 3 hours ago. Yeah.
Okay. 3 hours ago, I had many different conceptions of what I could possibly be walking into. 3 hours ago, all but one were eliminated. And 3 hours ago, I wanted the mother I remembered. Three hours ago, I remembered again.
She stops and you can see processing going on, like the filters falling off. And taking all of that in, but choosing not to directly respond to any of it, she says, the room that he built is really quite nice. I could have it cleaned out while we have dinner. Feel free to yell at the staff. It always makes me feel better.
Why misplace anger?
Because if I
If
if
you're
I dealt with
angry,
my anger, I'd hurt myself, wouldn't I? It's much easier to lash out, much less harmful. You don't have to yell at them, you know.
be yourself.
What else can I do? Anything less would be to show weakness.
Weakness is not weakness. It's humanity.
Up until 3 hours ago, that word didn't have a meaning either. But then again, neither did family. Lady Felicity Caldwell, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. And she reaches out a shaking hand. She's trying to restart. Trying to restart the greeting ritual.
How do I want to handle this? Think okay. Can I take the creative reins
Yep. Do it.
lightly here?
I'll stop you if you go too far.
Okay. Think she gets up as I choke a little bit. I think she gets up and walks over to the desk and she finds a blank version of the form of the document
Oh, the document.
that
Yeah. When you open
that
up,
Catherine Caldwell was filling out.
real quick interruption. You open up the page that's got that, because that document's there, right? They just covered it up. So you uncover it.
Mm-hmm.
It's their will, and they're including you in it.
Just like tiny
Go ahead and change it. Yep.
tiny uptick in her smile or in
Yeah.
her expression, because her mother did what she was going to do. So she just closes the document or recovers the document.
Oh, I need to sign that. And actually, I need a witness. And she uncovers it and signs it on the line and slides the document and the pen over to you. And there's a subtle line that says witness. Would this be, before you tell me whether you do it or not, would this be, I think so, the first time you've ever signed a document as Lady Felicity Caldwell?
Yeah.
Okay.
She looks at her mother and she looks at the document, kind of absorbs the sort of grandeur of Catherine's signature and like the loops and swirls and or of the cursive and everything. And it's funny because not the contract, the document, the will, is written, I think, in Italian. So it's very interesting to see an English name just like smack on this document. And he will take the pen and she will very carefully and methodically write out Lady Felicity A. Caldwell. And place the pen down and then hold out her hand and say, pleasure. Well, actually, she'll say, the pleasure is mine.
And there's a little sort of curtsy thing, like it's that they've treated you. I'm going to give you, they're becoming more personal in their reactions to you, and the ritual reactions and the ways that the way that you interact is becoming less professional and more personal.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make that clear, but And after you shake hands, they very carefully get out the blotting paper and blot the ink and do the unnecessary blowing on the ink after they've already blotted it. And then they close it, fold it up, wax seal, ring a little bell. Little butler runs in, grabs the paper, and takes it off to the document people. So, dinner?
I had a big long speech in my head, and I didn't have to use it. And yes, I would love to have dinner with you.
And she kind of grins, and again in this friendlier voice, it's sometimes difficult to admit, but you have to learn to know when you're beaten. And she sort of, to avoid looking at you, she kind of pulls the curtain aside and looks out in the yard. Says, oh, you're I almost said servants. They're not servants, are they?
No, they're friends.
Well, that man looks very confused. Where should we tell him to put all that luggage?
The best rooms in the house.
And you can
Mine is yours, of
Mhm.
course.
But you can see there's a moment of relaxation because this allows her to put you in where you're supposed to be, which is the choice of either your room that was built for you or the room directly across the hall
Mhm.
from it. So when you're directed there, when you finally get there, both doors will be open, both rooms will be clean.
So Felicity will I suppose find one of her mother's servants
Mhm.
and um I hate the word instruct,
Yep.
request that they take the luggage to its proper destination.
Okay.
And relay Lady Caldwell's um, decision as to room and board.
Okay. And yes, your room would have servants' quarters that they would be expected to live in. Get the squirm. Oh, I love it. They're nice. I mean, it's not like, a 6x6 pen in the back with two dogs in it. They're nice rooms. You're the second most important person in this place, so the servants' quarters theirs are nice.
Yeah. We'll work on it. Felicity feels like she's maybe pushed as much as she can for now.
Yep.
So she's going to I think because Sid left the bags just like on the ground.
Well, we'll get to them in a second. So, yeah. What are you doing? You're going to dinner with your mom, or
yes, going to dinner with my mother.
okay, and sending a message outside with the staff. Okay, perfect. So
Yes.
let's go talk to Sid and Artemis. You guys are outside thinking, is it time to go in? Is it time to launch a rescue mission? What's going on? Nobody's come out through. Nobody's been defenestrated in your immediate vicinity. What are you doing out there while this goes on?
At
Well,
one point, we
partway,
both go back to the car.
yeah, partway through the conversation, Artemis went back to the car.
Yeah.
She she's dealt with a lot of like not this exact situation, but like from bits and pieces, Koas and Artemis has made it clear like their parents are not the most
Supportive, helpful,
supportive.
yeah,
They're much
parental.
more they're much more war based in like the Citadel,
Yeah.
and that kind of hierarchy. And so eventually it was just, I don't want to deal with it right now.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, after a little while, she just went back to the car because she figures eventually they'll know what's going on.
Yeah.
Sid would probably finish his conversation with the gardeners,
Yeah.
and then follow back probably about a minute later.
Yeah. The messages are fairly slow in coming. Every once in a while, it's like still not fighting, still not fighting, still not fighting, and then suddenly it's just gone to dinner. And now you're out of the loop because the information loop that takes the information from that room goes around the other side of the castle. So you're going to have to wait. But yeah, apparently the ladies Felicity or the ladies Caldwell are off to have dinner together. At that point, you see one of the servants come out the doors, comes up to you, Sid, and says, "Is this all belong to the lady?" And he points to all the luggage. "Is any of it yours?"
Sid sort of points to the very heavy bag of tools.
Yeah.
The slightly glitter marked bags of Artemis's.
Yeah.
And like, that's mine. That belongs to Artemis. Those 2 bags over there belong to the boys. This here's the ladies. Where am I taking it?
Oh, we wouldn't have that. He very, very carefully doesn't call you sir, but no. This is Caldwell property, sir. We carry things here. Sorry, I said sir. He didn't. Yeah, we carry the things here.
There's
You
just
might
like
accidentally say sir.
Sid definitely gives this guy a once over and disapprovingly says, "I'll be taking my own bag. I don't think you could lift it."
Fair point, sir. Not to offend, but could you put it in this? And he holds out a black garbage bag. Just until you're through the public areas, sir. The maids will kill me if I. And he is calling you sir now because he's asking you to do something.
Artemis picks up hers without saying anything.
Yeah. And his hand just sort of snaps out with another black plastic bag and holds it in your general direction.
Sid's like, with all due respect, I am a master engineer. These are the tools of my trade. And he sort of leans in, and I kind of want people to know that. Gives him a wink.
And it's the recognition. Oh, yeah, yes, of course. And they turn around and Artemis, you're in my head, it's a backpack for Artemis.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Just kind of one shoulder's already slung, and you're just waiting to be told.
She does not take the plastic bag.
Yeah. So they pick up the lads. Oh, look at one of our peoples has stayed up way into the middle of the night and has to go, and another one of our peoples has just arrived. So hello, peoples.
Hi, Grams.
That makes the numbers look good too in the after action report tonight for the stream account. Anyway, so the 2 of you are led into the house down the staff hallways, not the front hallways. So you're seeing part of the house that Felicity is, if it's up to the Caldwells, never going to see. But you're taking down staff quarters, staff
We
entrances.
can show Felicity later.
Yeah, it's just plain
Subliminal hallways.
concrete walls, right? It's just whitewashed. It's not fancy or painted. But then you're taken into these rooms. Each of you has your own room. Each of the lads has their own room. There's one set aside for Allegra as well. It's just a whole hallway with just a couple dozen rooms along each, or like sort of a dozen on each side. And you're just free to choose your rooms in there because, obviously the second most powerful person in the house would have many, many, many servants. And this one's only got 7.
Well, and guests and
Yeah. But yes, everybody gets a place inside here, including the lads when they're done peeling potatoes.
Sid picks a room that's facing the dawn
Okay.
and has a small balcony on it.
Yep.
He's in another city. He's finally in a city again. He's going to get back to his rituals if it's going to damn near kill him.
Oh, and it's one of those Italian old balconies. It's like 1 meter long and half a meter wide. It's like just big enough to you to stand out there, and that's it. Yeah,
Glorified windowsill.
yeah. The ones that during lockdown people were playing ping pong from one to the other. Yeah, it was a great video from Italy. Yeah, because they locked down hard. But anyway, yeah, that's where I got the idea. So yes, you find that Artemis. Any specific requests as per room? Good light.
No, she'd probably, I mean, she's not too picky, but she'd probably find one with a nice big bare wall.
Yeah. Okay.
She's plans.
Easy. Yep. Nothing to it. The boys are like first day frat boys. They're like, the pick rooms right beside each other. And I want this one. It's
They aren't
bigger.
there
And
yet.
Oh, there's shit.
They will be, though.
They're in my head all the time, so I always assume they're in the scene. But speaking of them, as the two of you get set in and Felicity heads in for dinner, Allegra, the message comes running down the stairs. There's not going to be a war.
And it's
Ceasefire.
clear that dinner's going to start being carried out. So Allegra reaches to catch the arm of the messenger
Mhm.
and looks at them and says, we're going to need a parlor with a wash basin where we can clean up.
And there's been a couple, the head cook comes over.
As we
at this
get
point.
out from underfoot.
Yeah. The head
Sorry.
cook comes over at this point, and they've got a tray of pastries with them that is clearly like it's not on a fancy tray, it's just on a tin sort of cooking sheet. And they come up to you and say, I've just gotten word. Your quarters are ready upstairs. Upstairs and downstairs staff officially don't mix. I mean, we do, of course, but officially, you're supposed to be
Oh,
upstairs.
I know. We were just. I know. It's such mischief of mine to come down in here and mix and mingle and bring the boys with me and all too. But yeah, I do take a little bit of liberties with my privilege. You know.
Oh,
You know how it goes.
It's quite all right.
You won't hold it against me, will you?
Not at all. I suntan on the roof all the time. No one can see me. Would you like a pie?
You know, I won't have a hand for it, but I'm sure these three boys would love one. And I'm going to get my crutches and start moving out because I'm going to need to go to a parlor for us to wash up, particularly the boys.
Yes, absolutely.
Particularly Terrence is
Yes.
going to need to wash up.
He is. He was farming not long ago.
Has he figured out? Has he figured out when we talk about the boys having quarters in the main house includes him?
When you tell him it's time to wash up, there's a moment.
You've been promoted.
When I say these three boys, it very clearly includes
Yeah.
him.
And he's looking at the other two. It's like, inside? Like he's gone to the wrong people for advice here. He's looked at the boys and said, inside? And
You
they're
can
like,
And
hear
it's like
piano.
Allegra.
Bong.
It's if Allegra tells us to do something, we're doing
Oh, yeah.
it. It's like
just
go
go
on
along
with
with it.
it.
Yeah, just yeah. Actually perfect because Stefano leans in knowingly and almost puts his hand on Terrence and then smells Terrence and backs off a little bit, and he says, "It's best just to go along. We've been doing quite well by just going along."
For some reason, that sentence, that whole phrase, I hear Stefano, but I see 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
It's best just to go along, man.
And so, yes, you're led from the kitchen to a large flowing water area is where you can clean up and get everybody's suspiciously clean. I almost said, so I said it because it's kind of funny. never trust clean people. They don't work very hard. I know I am one. Clean
Well,
and not working.
and you know, she doesn't spend much time cleaning up. She's more checking that the boys got under their fingernails.
yep.
And Terrence, we're going to need to brush you off, and
Yep.
and all of that. Well, Terrence, we're going to need to brush you off, but I've got my crutches here, so it's like, you know, oh, Terrence, we're going to need to brush you off. So Stefano starts brushing him off, and
Yep, absolutely. Yes. And then you are hastened again through the staff hallways, up the stairs, along a back hallway, and out into this area where you see Artemis and Sid desperately trying to fill these rooms with one bag of stuff. And the boys arguing about which 2 rooms they're going to take and which one might be 6 inches bigger than the other one and why they deserve that. As soon as they get there, they start fighting over rooms.
So let's see. The dining room is going to be at least 1 floor up and around a distance.
Yep.
The parlors that we're washing up is going to, you know, the place we're washing up is going to be somewhere in between. Allegra is not going to want to go upstairs to the room in between. She's going to want to go straight to the.
Actually, the dining room and everything else is upstairs. The whole living quarters is 1 floor up. The kitchen was down here, and everything is your quarters.
But
and the
it'd be
dining
like
room is
she
all
wouldn't
up here.
want to detour off to the residential wing. She'll want to stay.
Just straight to the dining room?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, she's gonna be a little tired, and after, you know, going up the stairs with her crutches, she's gonna be a little tired,
Okay.
and she's not gonna want to detour any additional steps.
Fair. In that case, yeah, the lads will go with you, and they still won't be fighting over a room. I keep wanting them to fight over a room, but they're not there yet. So the 4 of you, Terrence included, all make your way, are taken to the dining room. But just before you get to the dining room, the person that the messenger who was running you realizes what you're asking, and stops and stands in the hallway like a little warrior and says, "You can't go in the dining room."
I beg your pardon.
You don't have a title.
I beg your pardon. I am a personal guest of Lady Felicity.
And there's the head, you can almost comes apart but then you wouldn't be back here in the halls, you'd be out in the front.
Yes.
But you're back here in the halls, so that can't be.
I know I was trespassing, and that is so naughty of me. I do know that, and I apologize if I led you to any sort of confusion or anything. But we are indeed personal guests of Lady Felicity.
Okay, I didn't know. Can I announce you? What's your name?
Allegra Melodia. And I don't know Verity's last name. And Stefano, and I don't know Stefano's last name either. And Terrence, and I don't actually know his last name either. And so, but this is, let's see, we have engineer and architect and agriculturalist.
Okay. I have a favor to ask. When I introduce you, can you all kind of stand to one side of the hall so when I'm done I can just run?
Absolutely, we wouldn't wish to cause you any discomfort. Anything we can do to make
Oh, you
job
already
easier. Of
caused me
course.
lots of discomfort. And
Well,
then pushed up-
I'm so sorry for that. We shall endeavor to not make any additional. Of course, you may certainly announce us.
They pushed the
Is
door
it too
open.
early for us to go in? You know, in more of a confiding tone. Is it too
Yeah.
early for us to go in? I am a little tired, but
What's
I wouldn't
too
want
early
to
when you're
impose.
not supposed to go at all? And they push open the door, and it's behind a curtain inside. So they kind of step behind this curtain and then slide out
Well,
of
we
it.
could
till
go
the
around to
staff
the
appear.
front door if you wish, but
You're making this really hard.
I'd rather not take the extra steps.
It is with great, and they're trying to say out loud, but they're just choking up. It is with great fear
Very
that I
moved.
introduce Lady Allegra and company. She says she's supposed to be here, and then boom, gone down the hall behind the through the
Sid's
curtain past all
holding-
of you. Boom, gone down the hall.
Sid's holding the door open for him just to make it easier.
Felicity, you and Mother are sitting sort of. It's a formal dinner dining thing, so you're at opposite ends of a big long table. Right?
Good.
With the sort of like 5 or
Great.
6 seats on each side, right? Because yeah, it's a
Mhm.
formal dining room. There's no way they would. Your first meal was going to be anywhere but in this formal dining room, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, you're literally at opposite ends of the big long table. That happens, and then you look over and Sid's holding the curtain aside. You can see Artemis behind them, and Allegra and the whole crew. No, wait a minute. Sorry, I screwed this up again. The
Does-
two of them are still in their quarters. It's only Artemis and the boys. Or sorry, Allegra,
Allegra
and
and
the
the
boys.
boy.
Sorry, yeah, my mistake.
We've got our well. So
My
the thing
brain's
is,
funky
if they see if Artemis and Sid aren't there yet, we
No,
can
they're not, because yeah,
we can bridge some of it, and
I don't know if we were ever told we were going down there.
No, you weren't.
Yeah,
No,
we
assumptions
went as
were
far
made.
as picking a room. And the scene changed.
So
Here's
but we
food
can
in
jiggle the
in
timing a
quarters,
little
yeah.
bit so that Sid and Artemis get there at least at
Oh
the
no,
same
no, I
time.
don't want
if
them
not
there
a
yet.
little
I
bit.
want this to be just you and the boys. This is perfect. Yeah, they're still getting set
Okay
in their rooms.
then.
Yeah. So yeah, pardon me.
So
I just-
Verity's holding the curtain.
Verity's
open
holding the
as-
curtain, and yeah, as the
And
helper runs
Terrence
by,
is
he
trying
goes,
to look like he's
"Uh-oh."
trying to disappear,
Yeah,
and
Stefano's confused.
yeah. Verity
Stefano's
breaks the silence
and
by saying,
Allegra is
"Oh, they can see us."
just going to sail in,
Yeah.
sail in full confidence. She completely belongs here. And
Felicity, you can see
She
your
comes-
mother. She's just about to cut something, and they walk in, and she just drops the fork and moves the knife to this hand. Like her natural response is knife fighter's grip.
and Allegra will come up by Felicity and oh, Felicity, you wouldn't believe all the things I've heard. Oh no, Artemis is going to want to sit here, and so I'll move another seat down to be two from Felicity, and sit down and look expectantly around. And oh yes, the boys need to sit too, and gesture them over on the other side by Sid, by where Sid's going to be. Leave a place for Sid.
Yeah.
Felicity just looks very amused. On the inside,
Watching
she's like,
Bison
"Oh
there."
my god, what is okay variables?" But on the outside, she is amused because her mom's freaking out, but also
Oh,
like
yeah.
her mom's freaking out, and that's a variable that she doesn't know how to handle yet.
Yeah.
But she's got
So-
a bulwark supporting her here because her half of the table's gonna be full and Mother's half of the table is not.
Yes.
Yeah. So Felicity, I think they left room on either side for Sid and Artemis, and then Felicity looks with an amused smile to each of you, and then to her mother, and goes, "Would you like to meet my friends? Well, some of them."
Hello,
I'm-
how do you do? I'm Allegra.
I'm going to need more wine. And it's just the butler's there, the bottle's pouring. There's none of this sort of the correct amount in the bottom of a glass. He's heard this tone before. It's a look, fill up the bottle and fill up the glass and stay close. Well, if you don't mind though, we're going to close the curtains. And as she says it, the servants run over and close
Oh, but
all the
it's such
curtains.
a pretty day out.
Yes, and I don't mind the staff watching every single possible thing that I do all day. Yes, everything, I know. I won't have the neighbors seeing it.
Oh, as if they have a telescope looking over here. Have you seen how far away these houses are?
They've
Oh, I'm
built
sorry. And I
terraces
look
just for the
apologetically at
telescopes.
Felicity and close my mouth and smile sweetly.
Yes. They've built terraces just for the telescopes.
Felicity is going to give Allegra a "be very careful" look.
And Felicity gives kind of a slightly chagrined smile. It's not. It's kind of a chagrined smile,
Yeah.
half apologetic, half grinning, but she's not holding back.
And then Verite cracks the silence by saying, "Are we too late for pudding?"
We had just started the entree, so no.
There's still going to be pudding, right?
I'm Sure, they can whip some up.
I mean, there's a spoon there for it and everything.
Terrence, you saw what was being fixed down in the kitchen. You know there's pudding.
Oh yeah.
Felicity brought a bunch of just like country kids
Oh yeah.
to the
Yeah,
city.
I mean, they're bumpkins to start with, but this is so out of their world. They might as well be on a foreign planet at this point, hallucinating fiercely on chemicals. Like this is just as unreal as anything has ever been for any of them. None of them
Everything's probably
process reality very
subservient
well to
everything.
start with. So the Venice hillbillies, yeah.
Just about.
Let's cut away quickly to Sid and Artemis. You guys have got your rooms picked out. You're, like I said, you're desperately trying to fill the whole room with one backpack full of stuff, right? Maybe if I crossed the axes on the wall or whatever, the hammers on the wall. But you
Got them
are,
all splayed out on a very old, clearly very expensive tableau.
mhm.
And he's taken his leather pouch of tools and just rolled it all out, so everything's like nice. The lubricating oils and all the
Yeah.
important stuff is just set out. Probably the first maid that comes in is gonna wonder if I'm a murderer or something.
As you're getting set up, you hear
killer.
out in the hall the sound of paper rustling, like just a thunk. Artemis, let's pretend you were closer. Besides,
Sid
your
goes
cat
to
is
the door.
arrived.
Oh,
So,
kitty.
yeah, it's just outside your door.
Mhm. Sid cracks the door open, looks down the hall either way.
There's a little slit in the wall about halfway down, and this piece of paper in a sort of very light wooden frame has kind of thunked out. There's some sort of mechanism in the walls that allows them to move messages, and on it is written on a chalkboard. Is written, "Welcome to the staff. Condition yellow. Fight not imminent."
Now, Sid had a similar system back
Yeah.
in Florence,
Mm-hmm.
so he just takes a piece of chalk from his
Yep.
apron, because of course he's got chalk,
Of course. Yep.
and just puts a check mark next to it.
Yeah. Just push it back in the wall. Yeah. And you hear it drop ka-thunk downstairs. A couple
They
sec-
haven't killed each other yet, he says to Artemis.
a couple minutes later, ka-thunk, thunk, it pops back out. And one whole side just says, dot, dot, dot. And there's an arrow that points to the other side. And somebody's gone to some effort to make it look fancy. They're trying to do calligraphy, but it's with chalk, right? So it's you are cordially demanded to go to the dining room for dinner. And at the bottom in very small letters, it says, "You lucky, lucky bastards."
Artemis will take it and add some notes for their calligraphy, like do this instead. Not necessarily mean, just like tips, like
Yeah.
you do this on the downstroke, it'll look nicer.
And then
Artistic
thunk
critique.
downstairs, yeah. And
They
there,
were
the
trying,
door at
she
the
has
end of the
better
hall.
tips.
The door at the end of the hall opens, and there's a very confused staff member looking in at you because he's your staff, but he's here to take you to the dining room where staff don't go unless you're dining room staff, and none of you are that.
They'll
Yeah.
learn what qualified professionals are for.
I believe they're just starting the entrees.
Thank you very much, sir, or madam.
Oh, don't make it worse by calling me that. And they're just kind of holding the door for you, like you're in this weird middle ground now because you're two things at once, and that doesn't fit. Right?
Sid's
Cognitive
enjoying it.
dissonance.
Yep.
Yeah,
Artemis will
Sid's-
look to Sid and say, "How late do you think we can be without getting Felicity in trouble, but still fucking with them?"
We're probably already a little too late.
We are trying to avoid a civil war if at all possible today.
Hold on, I'll get changed. Shouldn't
Thank
be
you.
more than
We've
5
already had 2 this month.
Oh,
It's the 9th.
Artemis
That-
will look down at her clothes and be
There's a
like,
reason they're ready. Felicity's mom's a psycho. No, she's just a bad boss. So, Artemis, yeah.
Artemis will look down at her clothes like, nah. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Sid
Like,
basically.
I've only got like 2 pairs of clothes with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing. Sid takes his flat cap off, hangs it on the corner of a Venetian mirror,
Yeah.
and basically swaps out his tank top.
Put on the
This
put
new
on
one's a
this
slightly different shade of white.
Sunday going to church
Yeah.
tank top. We've had this before.
Yeah, and then he puts on he puts on properly so that the whole thing's up.
Yeah.
He looks very nice, even though he's just wearing a tank top and slacks.
Yeah. The two of you head off.
Artemis
The-
makes sure to wear the boots that don't have plastic like burned onto the edge of one.
Yeah, absolutely.
fact.
As you head out, as you walk past the person holding the door for you, they close it. They watch you walk away, and the camera stays with them for a second, and he watches you go and he says, "There goes the neighborhood," and he turns around and goes back downstairs.
Oh, he has no idea what we have plans for.
A couple seconds later, a different butler arrives because it's the butler that takes people from here to here. Like it's that level of the butlers have zones, right? So you are buttled to a dining room. You walk in and you see all at one end of the table. If this was a seesaw, there'd be one lonely kid way up there in the air. That's Felicity's mom. And at the other end of the table, there's Felicity and Allegra and 3 boys, and everybody's dressed up, and they're all having plates placed down in front of them.
And Allegra makes sure that there is comfortable conversation flowing
Yep.
to include everyone, including Catherine.
Who's way down at the other end of the table. Yeah, the two of you walk in. There are seats clearly placed
That's
for
okay.
you.
Allegra won't hold it against her.
Also at Felicity's end of the table. Yeah.
Artemis will make eyes with Catherine again.
Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine,
Catherine.
and we'll give her a similar, very similar stare. Not saying anything,
Yeah.
not necessarily glaring at her, but
Yeah.
giving her the stare down because she's like, I still don't like you.
Yeah.
I'm watching you.
Sid, how do you
Um,
make an entrance?
He kind of doesn't really give Catherine the stare down, but it's really more of a recognition nod, like a little bit of a bow, like the formal head nod.
Yeah, the formal
very
one, yes.
strictly guy thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, not really too much
The-
more than that.
The
She
down
knows who
nod,
he-
respectful one, not the up
Yeah,
nod. I know you.
the
one.
slight with the slight
Yeah.
head, slight head tilt as if he's got a hat.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll get my
I'll
tools.
get my tools. Yes. So yes, you do that, and then head to take your seats. As you start to
Mhm.
sit down, Catherine stands up at her end of the table. You see one staff member just bolt behind the curtain. Just they're gone. Message is on the way. You just about hear red alert, red alert, red alert from downstairs. She reaches down with her own hands and picks up her plate, which she has placed her knife and fork on, and her very full third glass of wine. And she stands up and walks like the Titanic leaving their dock, just majestically down the table, and staff, like one after another, is just bolting like DEFCON 4, DEFCON 3, DEFCON 2, DEFCON, we're on, go undercover, head for the bunker.
Which side of the table is she on? The guy's side or the gal's side?
She is coming down the gal's side yes, because you made me decide, so yes. And she gets
As she nears, Allegra will react.
she gets close enough that she gets to that last chair that's beside, who would be the last one on the ladies' side? Artemis,
Me.
I guess? You?
No, me, because I left
Okay.
a space for Artemis
Right,
between me
so
and
yes.
Felicity.
They walk up and look down at you, who they haven't really officially met even, yes.
I
They put
know.
down their
Which
stuff,
is
yeah.
what
Mm-hmm.
We
Sid,
haven't been introduced yet. I'm Allegra. It is so nice to meet you, Lady Caldwell.
Sid stands up when she gets close to
Yeah.
the rest of them. Just
And she reaches out without saying anything. She reaches out to Allegra and shakes your hand and says, and it sounds like she's like it almost hurts her to say it. Call me Catherine?
Oh, lovely, and call me Allegra. Oh, I didn't say my last name, did I? So you were going to call me Allegra anyway. And I'm chattering. I do so apologize for that.
And they sort of, their eyes quickly scan over to Sid as you stand up, and she says, I don't believe we're standing on ceremony tonight. Please have a seat.
Artemis will lean over to Felicity and be like, "Do you want me to move so you can sit next to your mom?"
And Allegra starts moving a seat over.
To give you time to think, she looks across at Sid and the lads on the other side of the table. Says, so, and again, foreign language, right? What
yeah.
brings you here? What do you do? That's a very unique, like she's trying to start a conversation.
He smiles. Is like, I was the master engineer in Steamworks.
She hears master and all. You can see you go up a click. Like she's trying to be she's trying to be social, but she's still keeping score.
Oh,
And
she's
you
gonna be
just-
so upset when she learns who
You
Artemis
just went up a
actually
click
is.
for sure. Oh, and that entailed a lot of hard work, did it? And you look down, your hands are just like working hands, right? Calluses
Yeah, he's
and
got
blisters.
meat hooks.
You've probably, you can see through the shirt, there's still some of the ribs are wrapped. There's some bruising, there's some beating. Yeah.
Yes, very physical labor.
Oh, I'm sure that you'll find gainful employment here.
And Sid, you get the beaming professional smile.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, I plan on doing more than finding work, ma'am. I plan on making it.
Oh, yes, completely out of my experience, but yes. And you, what was your name? And they're looking at you, Artemis.
Artemis Damasi.
And what is it that you do?
I'm an artist.
A what now?
An artist.
So you art?
Mostly sculptures and sometimes drawing, but
You're not associated with that ghastly fool in the graffiti, are you? The leaves and the freedom from
As we all
work and all of
sigh
that?
and roll our eyes.
no, I'm not.
It's just like a table of groans.
Bit of free advice. Perhaps, given a certain situation, she's losing her lips because I am too. First day with my new face. She says, given the current circumstances, might I suggest you tell people that you're something less reactionary, perhaps a lawyer, something like that.
Forgive me, Lady Caldwell, but you're starting to sound nauseatingly like my mother.
I'll take
With
that
the
as
wine sip.
And there's sort of like an eyebrow goes up, and you see her. I'll take this as an excuse to change subject, and she rotates to the boys, the three of them.
So
just
Sid will
sitting
be
there.
next to Felicity, and then it'll be the other three. Probably Terrence. I don't know where Terrence would
Probably
have gone.
very.
Terrence has gotten the soup has arrived, and Terrence's face looks like it's just rotated, and it's just over his soup, and he's just sitting here eating his soup.
Trying to be
Very
invisible.
valid.
All you're seeing is
Very
the top
valid.
top of Terrence's head. The other two, Stefano is trying to be cool, but he doesn't know how to be cool here. I mean, he doesn't know how to be cool anywhere, but he's trying to be like he's watching other people. He never does anything first because he's trying to use the right utensils from all the 27 forks and spoons and knives. So he's really, really trying to fit in, and it just looks like the chicken on crack, right? Because his eyes are just popping around, his head's popping around, trying to figure out what he's supposed to do next. The Verite is just eating in a nice room. Just looking
Completely
around, dipping
unbothered.
soup, like dipping toast in his soup, like he doesn't care whether you're supposed to do that or not, and looking around at all the fancy built. Like, this is a really nice house, right?
Yeah, no,
And
no,
he's got good
absolutely.
food.
She and you are, and Stefano kind of grins and goes to open his mouth. You can see his throat just closes.
Unpaid intern.
Yeah.
I just realized what he was about to say. Yes.
And he grins and he says, "Paid intern, ma'am." And in so doing, he smacks both of the other two, and they're like, just, yeah, Three Stooges.
Felicity is
moment
going to
out
regret saying that we were not staff.
of- And then he
Yeah.
immediately, like, he's had his moment, and now people are looking at him, and he wishes he could disappear.
Yeah, Sid's doing this.
Yeah. Poor Catherine. Out of all the,
and
like,
Allegra's
everybody's
definitely
uncomfortable.
tried to stifle its laugh.
Everybody's awkward at this table, right? The staff are giggling around the walls, like you can hear them behind curtains.
Oh, my
Poor
goodness.
Catherine is just Felicity. You've spent the most time with her today. You can see she's just sweating, just beads of sweat running down under her very expensive wig and down her neck, and she's trying to be cool about this, but she is so out of her depth at the moment, bending over backwards trying to get all these ideas into her head.
And seeing this, Allegra had kind of scooted over so that Artemis could scoot over, but she's going to change tactic now, and she's going to draw Catherine down in the chair that
Yep.
she just vacated.
Okay.
Kind of a nice, cozy sort of way, being hospitable as if Allegra is the host,
Yeah.
making someone comfortable, and signaling, "Let's get some tea for
Yeah.
the lady, please.
Does that mean
You
she's
do
sitting
have
next
tea
to
handy.
Artemis?
A nice, strong tea, please." Smiling, beaming at the staff person that gets that.
Does that mean she's sitting next to Artemis and
Yes.
between Artemis and
Yes,
Allegra?
Catherine
Okay.
is between Allegra and Artemis, yes.
Okay.
Just slowly moving towards the end of the table that Felicity's at. Yeah. Verite at this point stands up, walks over to one of the curtains and just pulls it out of the way, revealing a staff member standing there. And he says, "Can we get pudding?" And then just lets the curtain go and walks back and sits down. He's figured out how this works, right?
Felicity is literally doing what Chris is doing, just like head in hand.
Yeah.
Felicity
So,
is
yes, I'm coming
trying
to Felicity.
so hard to stay composed.
Yes.
We're not house trained.
Felicity, I want to point out at this point that even Catherine has clearly said to the rules for at least this meeting, like at least this dinner, she's down here at your end of the table. She's breaking all kinds of rules. She's talking to the staff, just they're sitting at her table. There's so much wrong with this. She's trying so hard.
The curtains got closed, right?
Yep, nobody can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Felicity says, "One moment," and she gets up. She goes over to the curtain where there will inevitably be a staff member.
Yep.
And she just peeks her head in and goes, "I'd like to request some privacy, please. If we need you, we'll call you."
She says that to whom?
The staff.
To
yeah.
the staff.
staff
To the
member.
staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
The staff.
15
There's-
all leave the room.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a little
Exactly.
alcove that they're in, right? And you see them reach back and pull a string, and you hear a little dingle, dingle, dingle in the hallways, and all the curtains go as the staff moves out from behind them, and you hear click, 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 click as all the little doors close.
Yeah. The scattered
and then
shuddering of servants.
Yeah.
she goes back to her seat, and She sits back down, looks at her mother, and says, "Yes, these are my friends, and we have traveled together, experienced a lot together, and I intend to stay friends with them, just so you know."
She looks at you, looks down at the tea, looks at the wine, looks at the tea, drinks some of the wine, puts it back down and looks at you and says,
Allegra moves the wine over and pushes the
Mhm.
tea closer.
she says, and looks at all of you and says, "Tell me your story."
And who do we all turn to look at? I don't know that we all turn to look at anybody. Sid, maybe?
Sid's technically the oldest.
And was kind of the leader.
Yeah.
I
Can we
wouldn't.
get the sense of
Allegra
whether she's
wouldn't know about
asking the
that.
story of how we got here or each of our like personal stories?
Probably the collective. would
And
be
she
mine.
sees
The
the
collective.
yeah, she sees the confusion on your faces and says, "Well, let's start with how did you survive the volcano?"
By the skin of our teeth.
Very carefully,
And
I will point out, skipping over the fact that you're from Florence. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
Yeah, that
think
was mentioned.
yeah.
Sid's
Yeah.
response, like, for a second, he gets his own 1,000-yard stare because of the extra trauma he experienced during the
Oh, yeah.
escape.
Yep.
and
We escaped on the blood of others.
wasn't
We
it
did our
Forley?
best.
I think it was Forli.
It was
I think
Forli.
it was around there on the map. Yeah,
It was
Okay.
Forley.
real town. So yeah,
Um
these ghosts of towns, right?
Felicity is just when because she can hear the like strain in her mother's voice when she tries to skip over the whole Florence thing. Felicity gives her mom a look of like, we can talk about it later.
Yep. Yeah.
Allegra's humming.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
So
Allegra is not only humming. This is definitely getting into the group tuning.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Exactly. This is the perfect moment to hit that. Yeah.
Kevin, for story's sake, could we
Yes.
say Artemis brought like her like side bag with her?
Yes. I've been waiting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And as kind of like Felicity's talking and Allegra's humming and Sid is kind of, having flashbacks to the
doing
war.
his best to explain things without
Yeah,
really explaining things.
she pulls out this stack of papers, and Allegra would recognize them as some of the ones that she was working on in the car. And had been underneath the covers, and there's a whole group of images that she kind of has separated out. There's a snapshot of Florence with the Citadel in the background, kind of with the domed ceiling. Half of it is done where Florence is fully intact. The other half, Florence is kind of crumbled up, not fully destroyed yet, but broken. And then there is on another page a depiction of the mansion from the outside, kind of with the groves of I think it was olive trees around it. And then kind of alongside that one is, alongside on the same page as the river valley we kind of traveled through, that then transitions on to the next page, which has the fair. Where again, kind of the same, half of it is the fair when it was intact, the other half in flames.
Post verite. Yes.
In flames.
Yeah.
that kind of transitions into Lemville, which just has mainly the big tower
Yeah.
in the center and twisting and twirling vines.
I was going to say skipping the page where
There's no words, it's
Nope.
just vines.
Yep.
Plausible deniability.
Yep.
That leads into the village. I don't remember if we had a name for the one with all the grandmas and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then the latest edition that she was kind of working on outside that Allegra saw, and it's only half finished, is this big chateau, which is the Caldwell. I think you called it a chateau, that one chapter. That's why I have it written down in my notes that way. Yeah, it's unfinished. It's not quite done yet, but it's clearly this transitional artwork that that basically illustrates the entire journey.
As you're telling the story, these pictures
Yeah.
just keep coming out onto the table.
And underneath all of those are portraits of,
I just hit the button for anybody that wants to see them.
and I can post them in our Discord in a little bit, of Felicity,
Oh.
of Sid, of Allegra, and of the boys. I should
I
Oh,
missed
these are
them.
gorgeous.
I will post
The
them.
slideshow is up on on Twitch, so just get it open, and it's going to run from now over my face until the end of the episode. So,
And they're also in
Oh,
our
okay.
I
Discord.
have the boys.
In a
Oh
perfect
my
world, I would have drawn them, but I used
gosh.
the Hero Forge things.
so
Yeah.
with that, night comes down, you don't even notice. The story just starts to weave. And in the telling of it, you cannot help, no matter how much you try and downplay shit, Sid. In fact, the more you try and downplay it, the more in your head it becomes impossible to ignore the facts. You've already changed the world. You have left a wake of the opposite of disaster behind you. Yes, a couple places got burned down, but they kind of needed burning. They weren't working and nobody died. The more you tell of this story, the more it becomes clear that this is about helping people. This has been the thing that you've done all the way along. And the future becomes maybe a little clearer because all you have to do is keep doing what you're already doing. Over the course of that evening, Catherine drinks less, relaxes more. You know you've got her when at some point it's already dark outside, but the story's only half done. So it's, the coffee's been brought up. There was a knock on the door, and Verite walked over and opened it, and they said pudding and coffee, and he's about time. And they bring in pudding and coffee and then disappear again. But this story just goes on and on into the night, and the pictures come out and are shown. You just can't help it. You're already heroes. But at one point, Catherine reaches up and undoes the ruff on her formal dining dress. Doesn't take it off, just undoes it and opens it. A social faux pas of the grandest order if you were to do it in public.
Her entire neck.
And it's
What next,
it's
ankle?
clearly it's
Oh,
clearly
not
a
that.
choice, and it's clearly a sign, but it's also anybody who's looking. Allegra would get this for sure. Felicity, I'm going to give it for free. The other two, I'll let you decide if you figure this out. It's her deciding if she's brave enough to break the rules, and deciding that she is. And for the rest of the night, she's just another person. She's trying. She keeps sort of ordering things, but she's sent the staff away. So you're stuck with cooling coffee and a fuck ton of pudding. But the night goes on, right? You show her how to pour coffee. You You're just people telling this amazing story. She's the audience. She's not the center of attention. You guys are. Verite and Stefano and even Terrence start to
Although,
get more comfortable. Yeah.
although by doing that, the tuning also has effect on her, and she will be able to heal a trauma.
Yes. Oh yeah. That was kind of yeah.
That's enough to. That's enough engagement.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And by the time you guys walk yourselves into Venice, you tell your own story up until the part where you say we walk into this room and sat down for dinner, and you know the rest. You get to there, and it's the middle of the night. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. You can hear crickets and frogs outside the window. You look out, there's just enough lights on in places for the staff to be working overnight. The whole city of Venice, with the exception of 2 buildings that are higher than you are, but the whole rest of the city, the lagoon, the waterways, the canals, those old buildings, the fires down in the streets, maybe I'm making it even a little more medieval than it already looks. And behind that, all the ocean, the infinite, uncaring, unchanging ocean that's been there since before. Venice's biggest problem was flooding. And in that darkness of the night, you all finally finish the last pudding. The last cup of coffee gets tipped over in its tray to show that they're done. And you head off to your bedrooms. Or do you? Felicity, you're going to a big fancy bedroom, like 4-poster bed and windows and balconies and
Well, and so
yeah.
as we kind of wrap up and start leaving, that means staff is going to start coming in.
Yes. Yep.
And Allegra is going to apologize profusely for keeping them so late and dragging this on. And of course, and oh, here, let me help you move that. But of course, she's got her crutches here now because she's starting to get up and all. And so someone else naturally reaches forward and moves and you know, so before they know it, the boys and Terrence are helping to stack plates to hand to the staff and
Yep. Absolutely. Making your
and is going actually
presence known.
Catherine finds herself stacking bowls to hand down the table
I'll give
to
because you literally burned magic to make this a better moment than it already was. So yes, I will.
yes,
give
and
you
I'm
the
going to say
moment.
I did it disruptively, so that
Yeah.
if you want me to count up successes
Nope,
here.
I don't even need him for this. Go, please,
Yep.
please play the cards because that way you get a new hand. I made this mistake when we started this game.
Yeah, no, I have to do
But
yeah,
yeah.
because that's why
Yeah.
I'm doing it disruptively, so I don't have to look at my hand. I'll just deal a new one.
Yes, perfect. So yeah, you
So with
give that
excellence and
that last
disruptive,
final
and yeah.
push, and because your music is or your magic is music, I heard just like an aria that's almost so high only a dog can hear it. But it turns out aristocrats have hearing a lot like dogs, and she just finds herself under the what we're now going to call the Allegra effect. The I'm going to do this before somebody tells me to do this. And somehow I find myself doing the things. And yes, at one point, she even as she reaches to put a plate on the pile, she the everybody's helping, and Verite kind of comes rushing in with a plate, and she actually kind of has to catch him with one hand and put the plate on the table, and then let him go. And she's touched staff without exploding, and yeah, it doesn't like she blinks for a second and then catches herself blinking and lets it go.
And the staff is bustling quite effectively, and
Oh, yeah.
they're relaxed. They're not all stiff and formal. They're relaxed, and things are getting done in
Oh,
a
yeah.
cheerful manner. And so the whole mood in the room is lighter and more comfortable.
Oh yeah, they were at DEFCON 0. They were ready to run to the bunker, and then they got this instead. So yeah, nobody's sure what happened.
And some of
because you
them have been
locked them
talking
out.
to the kitchen staff too,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So
They got locked out of this. So you might have had the only ever secret meeting in this entire house, ever. But with the group of you heading to bed, I got to do this again. Felicity, big giant fancy bedroom. Everybody else has got to go down the hall and stay in. And I mean, they're nice, but they're rooms, right?
Sid asks for a kettle.
Boiling water, says one of the staff.
Just Just the kettle and some water on the side. I'll be waking up before most of you.
They were right downstairs. You're all absolutely nuts. Kettle and water, sir, for the Yeah, okay.
For
Sure.
the morning.
Why not? Yeah. Make your own toast next. And off
It's like,
they head back.
Artemis?
He stops like,
As long
if
as
it's
you
too
offer.
much, you're welcome to join me in the morning. I'll be up with the dawn.
My shift ends at 4, but thanks. A
I'll be
kettle
asleep.
in your room.
Just a kettle. Brass if you've got it.
Oh, hell, you want silver? We got a silver one.
He just gives him a look. It's like brass holds the heat better.
I'm
Of
sure
course,
you
he
know
has a
best.
thermodynamic reason for it.
I'll just bring you all the different teas that we got too, right? Like,
And he's just like, that's up to you. I mean, and he's not like being like an ordering kind of person.
No,
He's
no,
just
not at
kinda
all,
like,
yeah.
hey, you got to like stir a kettle.
Instructing.
yeah, this guy's
Instructing
just
subordinates. Instructing, staff.
It's just this
you know.
entire place is just completely turned on its head because none of the rules apply. It's like somebody dropped a Saturnalia in a nunnery. It's that weird, right? So yeah.
But it's ever so comfortable and or so pleasant about it.
Mhm.
Artemis will
Except for
leave.
Artemis. She's grumpy.
Yeah.
She hates it. Artemis will leave the door to her room slightly open
Yeah.
as like a silent Felicity can come in if she
Yeah.
so wishes to come in, but she's not gonna presume.
Yeah.
She's confused by the social cues around here.
So now finally the boys start fighting for rooms at the end of the hall. Finally. We finally got there.
Finally.
Felicity? They're all heading down the
Yes.
hall to their rooms. What are you doing?
What are the differences between the two rooms?
Royalty and a room at the a cheap room at the Hilton. I mean, their stuff is one room, common bathroom at the end of the hallway.
No, like you said there would be the room that the dad set up.
Oh yes,
And then
yep.
the one
then
across
the hall,
from
yeah.
it.
So there are two rooms. Yeah.
Is there like a significant difference? Is one like more nostalgic? Is like
the one that was your room is it's got nicer stuff. Right. The Louis XIV stuff in here is real. The Louis XIV stuff across the hallway is probably replicas.
okay.
Yeah. That's a guest. The difference is that's a guest room. This is family, right? So there is a difference. Yeah.
I think
But it's still a hell of a lot nicer than where they are.
Felicity is both exhausted and like wired
Yep.
at the same time. And she goes into the one that her dad made for her. And she kind of walks around and touches the furniture and just kind of grounds herself in something so lovingly made by someone who didn't want to give her up. And as opulent and uncomfortable as it kind of makes her feel, she slowly sits down on the bed and just kind of takes everything in. And she's broken decorum so much already. She could do so many different things at this point. I'm contemplating two different things.
As you look around this room, on the pillow, there's a present. A little box wrapped in a ribbon with a tag that says for Felicity.
She stares at it for like a good minute and then reaches over and picks it up and carefully undoes the wrapping.
It's heavy
And,
it kind of slinks back and forth in the box when you tilt the box.
Okay. She gingerly opens the box.
And it's a necklace. The necklace part is an incredibly fine double silver chain, sort of woven around itself. And then down at the bottom, that would sit right here, there's a plaque. I mean, it's not even a pendant, it's a little plaque. It looks like it belongs on the side of a building. And on the side facing you, it says, "Who I want you to think I am."
Is there anything on the other side?
You turn it over, and it's a silhouette of a man holding up a baby like this. Shall we drop
Felicity
the curtain
just
there and give you a week?
she just breaks down audibly. She
And-
doesn't care who hears.
Yeah. And that is where we're going to drop the curtain on tonight. Because I want to give everybody a chance to figure out how to respond to that, including me.
Instant tears in the eyes. Like,
We
holy
outdid
cow.
ourselves tonight. This game always goes deep and goes hard, and that was the best kind of brutal. I love it. That was absolutely, we pushed everybody absolutely to their limits. So thank you all for that. I was watching old Uncle Sam over here had his eagle eyes on all of you all night watching for cracks. So if I missed it, message me later. But I think we're okay.
Stop the art, please, so that we can see you
Oh,
on stream.
okay. I don't want to stop the art. It's fucking
I know you don't,
gorgeous.
and it is gorgeous art, and we love it. But right now, we need to see you.
Okay, well, we're going to see me then where I'm back. Please put the art in the art channel as well, not just in the cast chat, please, please, please.
I put it in the Dead to Rights Saturday chat.
Oh, even better, yeah. But please do pop it in the art as well.
Yeah.
So that one was a soul crusher. So thank you all. We moved the story along a huge amount tonight. Technically, you only got one more little marker on our thing, but it's in the political column, which is probably the toughest one. You have one over the third most powerful person in this city. She just has to figure out how the hell she's going to help you and not get ostracized in the process.
And all we had to do was
We can
treat
leave
her
that
like
to-
family,
Yes,
When you're here, your family.
that's right.
whether you like it or
Literally,
not.
like
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it.
Don't worry, I said it for
I
you.
was
Yeah.
We got you, girl.
So the thank yous that are in order, and they are extra special in order tonight. You guys knocked it out of the park. I know some of us were suffering most brutally tonight, and sitting in the darkness. I don't think it's any secret who it was. Thank you so much, Robin. I know how hard you fight to get here some nights, and I watched you all night. And boy, I'd have run and put my head under the covers long ago, just from what I could see reflecting in your eyes. So thank you so much for sticking it out, and in managing to play an incredible series of scenes. The completely believable character who absolutely categorically refuses to be impressed by anybody. And I love it. So thank you. Good night, K Grams. Appreciate you hanging
Night,
around.
K-Grams.
Appreciate it a lot. Oh,
Good night, K-Grams.
thank you to Bison_Stonefist as well. I made Sid cry tonight, and I'm happy. No, that's I loved Sid's character in this. Your interaction with Catherine was essential in breaking down her barriers. So yeah, it was really cool to watch. Sid's kind of this. Sid would win the Best Supporting Actor award in this series, right? Like that's a hard role to play. Support is always a tough role to play because you're never sort of in the spotlight, but you're always on the fringes of it, and you do that as you've reduced that to an art form. It's really impressive to watch. So
Thank you. High praise.
Yeah, thank you very much. Karis, Allegra is so likable. I don't want to like her. You know, like she's like that. I don't
There's got to
believe
be
you.
something wrong.
It's just I don't believe you. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm waiting for the spider to come down out of her web and kill us all. Right? But I absolutely love Allegra. To be that unaffected by 30 years of hideousness is just, it's glorious. It's just like a flower in a manure pile, right? It's like I'm not going down. There's nothing you can do that won't make me smile and won't make me make things better. So thank you.
There's
thank
nothing you can do that will prevent me from making you smile.
Yes, exactly.
I don't care how nasty you are to
Allegra
me.
Rush
You're
Melodia,
going to
yeah.
smile and have a nicer, easier, more comfortable life.
Yeah. When you say have a nice day, it's a promise. But that brings us around to the waywardest Kinnigat of them all.
Oh, Chris.
That was a night, Chris. That was impressive. Thank you. I threw a lot of shit at you, and you played it all. I'm very, very, very proud of your performance tonight. I hope you are too. That was just well done all around.
Thank you.
That's good. It's also good because you ain't done yet. You broke her once, but now when the windows open and the lights come on in the morning, you bet your bottom dollar that rough's going to be done back up, and you're going to be my daughter, Lady Felicity, again, and you're going to have to figure out that. But that's going to be fun to watch too. I'm looking forward to all of these characters having to figure out how the hell they're going to operate in Venice. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. It's a very different place than where you came from. And
Sid's going to bum rush a Coachworks.
Oh, I've been waiting for several weeks for you guys to go to the Coachworks because there's a surprise there. But with that, that's how I keep going, is I keep having surprises for people. So with that, there's 2 thank yous left. Thank you to everybody that watched tonight in chat. There was a lot of you. Thank you to everybody who watched the VOD on Twitch. And if you watched on YouTube all the way to here, please hit the buttons because we're going to assume you liked it.
Even if you didn't, click the
Even
button.
if you didn't hit the button, it doesn't hurt.
And put in a comment. Just say hi.
Yes.
Just
Yes. A wavy hand, or 5 wavy hands in one person's case. A series of swirly hearts in another case. Yeah, just pop in there, put in a comment. It really does help the algorithm, and that does get other people's eyes on this. By the way, on YouTube, this channel or this show consistently gets tons and tons and tons of views on YouTube. We have a very quiet but very strong following, and thank you to all of them when you're watching this.
all of you, not them, you.
Is that what do you mean? I thanked me. Didn't know. Somebody always thanks me.
No. You said to all of them.
Yes.
But it's all of you because they're watching us. So.
Well, yes. All of them that watched. Yeah, my grammar sucks. You're right. Okay. All of you that watched. Gotcha. So it's been a long night. I struggled a bit.
And we love Kevin too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's the 6th one. Thank you to Kevin for hosting this and setting up the story and giving us a place to do this really intense stuff.
Well, I get to say it 2 nights in a row now because I take it as a compliment that everybody feels comfortable enough to do this here. You're laying your soul on the line. You're acting with your guts out on the table, right? This is the real deal, and it would be very easy to back off and not do it for fear of a bad reaction. So the fact that you all feel safe enough here to do that and to bring this incredible role play to the table means I win. That's the short answer to that is I win. So from the winner, until next time we see you, and it's getting closer and closer. We're going to be 7 days a week soon, but until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.
Bye.